Bob Newsom, and I'm your uncle. And I guess we're here today to talk about my youngest son, Zachary, who's 16 and a half, and he's on the autism spectrum. And this is Diane.
I'm Diane, and I'm Bob's girlfriend and Zach's friend, and someone who's new to autism and learning every day about the different aspects of it.
And how old was Zach when he was diagnosed with autism?
4 and a half. He was having a lot of hearing problems. He was a lot of ear infections, and at the point that we really realized there's something significantly wrong, he had completely gone nonverbal. It was pretty devastating.
His bathroom backs up to our bedroom, and one morning he got out of bed, and he was just in a good, happy mood that morning, and we heard him sit down on the toilet seat, because he doesn't do anything quietly or softly. You can literally hear him sit on the toilet seat, and he shouts out, "Here I go!" and Bob and I looked at each other and just started laughing, and we said, wouldn't that just be wonderful if we could find that much joy just in going potty in the morning? So, I had accidentally left my razor on the edge of the bathtub, and the last time I left my razor on the edge of the bathtub, Zach shaved his tongue with my razor. This time, he didn't touch it, and I went to Bob and I said, "Oh gosh, that's really good. He didn't shave his tongue this time." And as soon as I said that, I thought, that is not a phrase I ever thought would come out of my mouth.
And then there are just real sweet moments too. You know, he thinks of things often like a child. He's compassionate and loving. We've had a lot of real special time with him.
Yeah, one of the big breakthroughs that we had is he can't tie his shoes. And so he'll get dressed for school in the morning, and he'll usually come sit out here, and he always says, Dad, tie my shoes. Well, one morning he actually called me to tie his shoes, and I felt like that was a huge breakthrough.
What do you think is the most challenging part of parenting a child that has autism?
Wow.
Where do we start?
Yeah, there's a lot. You know, Zachary is on the autism spectrum. He is somewhere between moderate to severe and profound. Manifests itself in a lot of very strong behaviors that are hard to control. You know, in a social environment, it can be very challenging. It can be a little bit embarrassing, and then there's a whole bevy of other issues that are there. Like he has a pretty significant sleep disorder. So when he's without sleep, the whole family's without sleep. It's just a lot of things that go.
About a week ago, Zach went 5 nights in a row with just not sleeping. And so truly, when he's not sleeping, we're not sleeping. Because he's up and in and out of the bathroom and slamming doors and drawers, and I mean, you're just not sleeping. When you want to take your kids out to dinner, you just say, hey, where are we going for dinner? For Zach, we have to think about what time of day is it, what food does the restaurant serve, do they have an outdoor seating area, because we would not ever take them inside a restaurant. That's just too much noise, too much chaos. And then I will usually talk to the waitress or talk to the people around us. Are you familiar with autism? Are you aware of what autism is? Because Zach does have some very unusual behaviors, and because he is so large and so loud, it's not something that you can just ignore. Yeah, exactly. It can be really disarming to watch Zach and some of his behaviors and some of the things he does.
Y'all talked about like some of the stress that comes with being like parenting a child with autism. What are some of the rewarding things that come with it? What has it taught you?
Weekends we have with Zach, it has to be focused on him, doing something with him. And it's really been a lot of fun. Friday nights we walk up to the ice cream store together. It's about a mile walk each way. Yeah. We have a great time.
Every Saturday morning we try to get a yard sale or two in. Taking Zach shopping would not be a positive experience. There's too many people, noises, sounds, but we do want to educate him on money a little bit and purchases and transactions, and so we go to yard sales.
And he enjoys it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He really loves it. And Saturday mornings he wakes up and says, are we going to a yard sale today? Tell him about the lady. It was the estate sale, and she had just lost her mom, and she was telling you about her sister.
Oh,
this was such a sweet experience.
Oh, I'll try not to tear up. We went to an estate sale, and I think that's why I was making the payment. And then she comes out on the front porch. She says, wait a minute, if you don't mind. And she shows me a picture. And it was a picture of 4 young children. In the picture, she said, "This was my family when I was a little girl." I have a sense, a direct experience with what it's like to have a family with a disabled child. And I'm trying to remember what she said or how she said it, but she said, "The 2 of you are amazing."
It's not always we're doing things for Zach. We find things that we enjoy doing, and we just try to do it together.
Mm-hmm.
You have another son, Tyler, and Zach's the one with autism. How has Zach developed differently from Tyler, like going into school and becoming an adolescent and everything like that?
Tyler did all of his milestones as a child. Now he's off to college. So we saw him progress like other kids in the neighborhood, and that was there. But obviously Zach has been delayed and doesn't read. Probably never will. Probably the impairment for him is most frustrating for him. You know, it's not that we can get this information out of him in a conversation, but one that's really heartbreaking as a parent is his social delays.
It is heartbreaking. There are 3 little girls in the neighborhood who I've just befriended. They're in 5th and 6th grade. They come over and we sit in the backyard, and we were here recently, and we had all just recently gotten manicures, so we were sharing our manicures and just being girly, just having little girl conversations. And Zach had been napping that afternoon, and Zach got up from his nap, got dressed, and came out onto the back patio into the backyard. And the girls said, "Well, we need to go now." And whether it's coincidental that they had to go at that time or whether they really just did not want to be around Zach, I don't know. But Zach went out in the backyard, jumped on the trampoline. He was walking around the backyard, which he does. Sometimes he just kind of walks the backyard and he pulls leaves and he kind of does a lot of self-talk. And I heard him saying, "No one wants to be around you. No one wants to be around you," talking to himself.
So kind of on that same point that we were just making, is Zach realizes his differences, and we know he thinks about that. Especially in public, if people are looking at him a little bit differently or oddly, he picks up on that real well. You know, he wants to be like everybody else.
How's school for Zach? Does he enjoy it, or?
Well, he was in public school at the end of last year, and it was not a good experience. But he's now in a private school, called the community school. It's here in Decatur, and it's amazing. Their focus is a therapy it's been known for a number of years. It's called Floor Time. It was created by Dr. Greenspan. They really push him, and the pushing that's so challenging for him is engagement.
We're working on modulation, which is something that's really important. And for autistic kids, something that would be minor to us, that would miss us, just sends them into orbit.
What are your biggest concerns for Zach as he continues to grow and develop?
Well, we want to see him develop to a point that he can have the best life possible. We're thinking ahead, trying to plan. One day, it's very likely with autistic children that they can outlive their parents. It happens frequently. So we have to be planning and thinking about how we're going to deal with those issues to make sure he's safe for the rest of his life.
There are a lot of misconceptions about autism, and is there anything, like one thing that you want people to know?
It just changes lives. It's not just affecting that child. It affects everyone who is in association with that child.
So over time, we've lost our friends. We lost our relationship with church. It even affects family dynamics, probably. It's very challenging for the child. There's no doubt about that. They're the person that's most affected by this, but it really affects the whole family. But the point I wanted to make is that there's a joy in this too.